The state pension is back in the spotlight, and today we're diving into a story that's not only surprising, but also incredibly important for millions of people across the UK. Welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, make sure to hit subscribe because we break down the biggest money stories in a way that actually makes sense. Now, the big headline today is that the UK state pension is nearing £12,000 a year, which is already huge news on its own. But what's even more interesting is that there's an unexpected rise coming for one particular group of people, an increase that many didn't see coming, one that could reshape how retirees plan their finances over the next several years. So let's unpack exactly what's happening, why it's happening, and who stands to benefit the most from this surprising boost. To start, the state pension has long been one of the cornerstones of retirement income in Britain. It may not be glamorous, it may not make anyone rich, but for millions of pensioners, it's the foundation that helps pay the bills, buy the groceries, and keep the lights on. Every year, the amount paid out to pensioners changes because of something called the triple lock, a policy designed to protect older people from falling behind as the cost of living rises. The triple lock means that each year the pension increases by whichever is highest, inflation, average wage growth, or a minimum of 2.5%. Sounds simple enough, but in reality, it has created a roller coaster of increases depending on what's going on in the economy. And here's where things get interesting, because in recent years, both inflation and wages have shot up in ways that no one predicted, triggering larger increases to the pension than many experts expected. As a result, the full state pension under the newer system is now pushing very close to that £12,000 a year mark. That's a major milestone, especially considering that just a decade ago, the full state pension was nowhere near that level. But while most people expected the pension to rise gradually, the size and speed of these increases have come as a shock, especially to those who rely on the pension as their main source of income. But the real twist, the part no one saw coming, is that one particular group is in line for a bigger and more unexpected rise than everyone else. And that group is people who are receiving, or are about to receive, the full rate of the new state pension. Now, to understand why this group is getting this boost, you need to understand how the pension system works. There are essentially two systems running side by side: the older basic state pension, which applies to people who reached retirement age before 2016, and the newer full state pension, which applies to people who retired after 2016. The new system is designed to be simpler and more generous at the top level, but only if you qualify for the full amount. That usually means you need around 35 qualifying years of national insurance contributions. If you don't have enough years, the amount you receive is lower. But if you do have enough years, you're in the group that's about to experience the unexpected rise we're talking about. So why is this rise unexpected? Well, when the new state pension was introduced, it was based on projections of normal, stable economic growth. The triple lock was seen as a reasonable guarantee to help pensioners keep up with rising prices and wages. But the events of the last few years, from the economic shocks to periods of unusually high inflation to wages increasing rapidly in certain sectors, have thrown those projections out the window. Because the triple lock uses the highest of inflation, earnings growth, or 2.5%, it reacts to the chaos of the economy. And chaos is exactly what we've had. The unexpected rise is the result of unusually high wage growth in certain parts of the economy combined with inflationary effects feeding through the system. The triple lock doesn't care why wages grew or why inflation spiked, it just takes the biggest number and applies it. That means pensioners in the new system receiving the full amount are seeing increases that push their annual income higher and faster than almost anyone predicted, reaching toward that £12,000 figure and potentially going beyond it in the next cycle. But here's where things get even more complicated, and honestly, a bit controversial. As the pension increases, it's now creeping dangerously close to the personal tax allowance, which has been frozen for several years. Right now, the allowance sits at £12,570. That's the amount you're allowed to earn before you start paying income tax. If the state pension continues rising the way it is, some pensioners will find themselves crossing over that threshold, meaning the government will start taxing a portion of their pension income. And this is where the unexpected part becomes even more important, because most pensioners never imagined that simply receiving the state pension without any private pension or extra income could put them in a position where they owe income tax. For decades, the state pension was comfortably below the tax threshold. It wasn't even close. But now, the gap is narrowing, fast. And for pensioners who have even small amounts of additional income, like a modest private pension, or maybe a part-time job, or even rental earnings, this could push them further into taxable territory. Many retirees are already feeling the squeeze from rising living costs, and the idea of suddenly having to deal with tax payments on their pension isn't just unexpected, it's unwelcome. But the situation is what it is, and the rise is coming regardless of the tax implications. Now, let's talk about the direct impact this has on that specific group, the full new state pension recipients. These are people who either already reached state pension age with a full national insurance record or are about to reach retirement with the same qualifications. They're in the strongest position under the triple lock system because they are eligible for the maximum payout. Every percentage increase directly boosts their income. But the key point is that their boosts are now larger than anyone predicted. If the economy continues on its current path, this group is set to see one of the biggest year-on-year increases in state pension history. What's also interesting is the psychological effect this has had. Many people who were expecting the state pension to be a modest, predictable, slowly rising income stream are suddenly seeing jumps that change how they plan their retirement budget. For some, it's a welcome bonus. For others, it raises questions about long-term sustainability. Will the government keep the triple lock forever? Is it affordable in the long run? Could political pressure eventually change things? These are questions being debated everywhere, from kitchen tables to think tanks. And what makes the story even more compelling is that this unexpected rise isn't happening in isolation. But, in another sense, it feels like a new chapter in pension policy, one where pension income is finally catching up to the realities of modern living, even though it's doing so faster than anyone originally intended. Of course, not everyone will benefit equally. Those on the older basic pension system won't see increases as large in absolute terms. And anyone with gaps in their national insurance contributions may not receive the full amount even under the new system. But the headline remains the same. One group, the full-rate recipients of the new state pension, are about to see a rise that goes beyond the normal expectations and pushes their income toward a level that could reshape how pensioners think about their finances. This is a moment of transition. Older generations remember a time when the state pension barely covered essentials. Now, it's on the verge of becoming a near-taxable income source purely on its own. That shift is remarkable. And while it presents challenges especially related to tax thresholds, it also brings relief for many retirees who have watched their household expenses climb year after year. So where does this leave us? The state pension is rising faster than expected. It's approaching the £12,000 mark. One group is seeing the biggest advantage, those with full entitlement under the new system. And while the rise is in many ways a positive development, it brings with it some unexpected consequences that pensioners need to be aware of. Financial planning in retirement just became more important than ever. Understanding how these increases affect your income, your tax position, and your long-term budgeting will be essential. And that's why we're covering stories like this, because understanding these changes is the key to staying ahead, staying informed, and making the best decisions for your future. If you found this breakdown helpful, make sure to like the video, subscribe for more updates, and drop a comment below telling me what you think about this unexpected rise. Are you surprised? Are you concerned about the tax implications? Or do you think it's about time pensioners received a boost this significant? Let's talk about it in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.